summarizing chapter 6 through 8 in a video clip of Jesus and God of Israel. In chapter 6, Malcolm emphasized the identity of understanding Jewish monotheism, focusing on who God is rather than what divinity is, and identified two key factors. First, he states that God demonstrated his divine acts for the Israelites by delivering them from the hands of the Egyptians, found in the book of Exodus, Malcolm 183. As only creator and supreme ruler, God's identity as Yahweh was an essential aspect of the Jews in the Second Temple period, identifying God's key role as a ruler of all things. Secondly, the uniqueness of God is that he is the only entity that was worshipped by Jews in the Second Temple period, and worship as God in the religious practice that surrounded Gentile culture. Bacon emphasized that Jewish monotheism is seen as creational monotheism, eschatologic monotheism, and cultic monotheism, in which God is perceived in these three ways. Creational monotheism asserts that God is the sole creator of all things, and he has demonstrated his deity to all nations. Eschatology monotheism emphasizes that God will achieve his ultimate rule over creation, which all will recognize as his deity. Cultic monotheism emphasizes God as the only one to be worshipped. All three were part of the Jewish framework in early Christianity. Malcolm 184 through 185. Chapter 7, Malcolm emphasized Jesus' unique identity as the same as God in the Second Temple Judaism, seen in Christianity. Malcolm identified Jesus' unique identity, which he defined as having the same characteristics as God of the Jewish monotheism. Here, Jesus is understood to have the same identity as God, which is eternal. Malcolm emphasized that in Hebrew 1, Jesus is engaged in the unique activity of God, which is rooted in divine eternity. This concept was the early Christian Jewish way of perceiving monotheism against theism. The author suggested that for Jesus to function as God, he must be God, which Jesus understood to mean participating in the creative work and the eschatology rule of God. In chapter 8, it emphasizes Jesus crying from the cross, which he echoes, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Found in Matthew 27:46. This statement emphasizes the desperation of Jesus in human form, suffering and feeling anguish, waiting for God to answer his call. I don't believe that God abandoned Jesus personally, because he knew what his purpose was on earth, which he sent out to do even at the age of 12, when he explained to his parents that he was about his father's business in Luke 2:49. John 6:38 states, "For I have come down from heaven, not to do my own will, but to do the will of him who sent me." This verse proves that Jesus came to fulfill his purpose, which he was sent to the earth to accomplish. Jesus had a choice at that particular moment. Still, yet he chose to continue to be that sacrificial lamb who took upon him the sins of all humanity, freeing us from the power of sin and giving us the opportunity for eternal life. Reference, Bacon.